Hello and welcome to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. And in today's video we are going to be taking an extensive look right across our squad for the 2018-19 season after the January transfer window. Now of course we brought in Jeison, Murillo and we brought in Kevin Prince Boateng. They've been added to our squad and we are going to be looking at exactly what Ernesto Valverde has at his disposal to really navigate his way through the rest of the season, the key games that we've got to come, and exactly where in that squad needs strengthening with a look to the future, and right now, what we can do with what we have. So we are going to start right here, of course, in goal with the two keepers that we do have in the first team right now, Marc-Andre ter Stegen and Jasper Cillessen. Those are our goalkeeping options, and to be honest, what more would you want to have? Ter Stegen, absolute top quality, and then you've got Jasper Cillessen as well as a backup. Such a quality goalkeeper. If we go out of the Copa del Rey, that'll be a big miss for him, and I really do hope that if we do, he finds a way to get some games elsewhere in the season. In terms of goalkeepers, we are well set for the rest of the season. But then we move on to our left back area, which in the long term, and especially with a view to the rest of the season, this is one of the areas that does scare me just a little bit, and that was really highlighted last night when we saw Semedo playing at left back, because you can see here, it would seem as though we had quite a few options of players that could play there. Obviously Jordi Alba the first choice, you've got Miranda from the youth team, and then you've got Semedo and Sergio Roberto, who obviously play on the other side, but they can deputise at left back if you need be, and also players like Thomas Vermaelen and even Clement Longley, who could just about adapt to that left back role. But put it this way, if Jordi Alba gets injured, or if we overwork him and he really gets tired and burnt out at the end of the season, we are going to be really struggling in that left back area, because quite frankly, nobody that you can see there would be able to come into this team and give what Alba does on that left hand side, not only defensively, in terms of athleticism going forward, in terms of energy on that left hand side, but also the end product that he provides in the final third for the likes of Suarez, for Messi, the link up that he can give on that left side. That is the area that worries me, because apart from Alba there's not a lot else. And then you come to the right back area, and I have to say this is an area right now that we are pretty well stacked. You've got Sergio Roberto and Nelson Semedo, two players there that have been fighting all season long to really nail down that first team place at right back, and I have to say that right now Ernesto Valverde is definitely favouring Sergio Roberto in the big games, in the big matches. He's the man, as long as he's fit, he's going to be playing. Semedo has been used more or less in the Copa over the last few weeks or so since Sergio Roberto has been back, and failing that, there is young Moussa Wagué playing for the Barcelona B team at the moment, a really promising right back that we brought in the summer, and certainly with a view to the future, he is going to be one of those players who's up and coming, and I'm sure that we're going to see him in the first team sooner rather than later. At right back right now, things are looking not too bad, certainly a lot better than our left back situation. And then of course you do move on to our centre back situation, which at the start of January did look very bleak indeed. We had injuries, we had suspensions, we were really struggling to get bodies there in the centre back position, but right now we are looking pretty well stacked in that centre back area. Obviously Samuel Umtiti right now, still a bit worrying on that front. We've not heard anything at all with regard to his surgery, whether he's going to have it, whether he's not, whether he's recovering. He is in Barcelona right now, he's been appearing at games as well, but as of right now, nothing new on the injury front. You've got Longley, you've got Piqué, who have played a lot of games so far this season. They've had their troubles, but they've also come through those and started to look a bit stronger at centre back. And then you've got Thomas Vermaelen, back now of course in full fitness, and that's really good to see, but obviously with Vermaelen, you never really know how long it's going to last, but the longer it does, the better, because Vermaelen, when he plays, is often dependable, he's often very solid, and that'll certainly work well for us as the season goes on. You've got Jeison Murillo, of course, who came in January, a very good option there at centre-back, a good backup option, and it's very nice to have that cover and experience in the centre-back role. If you need to bring somebody on as a last resort, we've seen Tumi used right throughout the season by Ernesto Valverde. So at centre-back, overall, we've got bodies there, we've got enough players there to get us through the rest of the season, because I wouldn't really be expecting to see much of Samuel Umtiti, unfortunately. And then of course we come into the midfield positions, and this is actually an area that I'm really excited to see, not only now, but also of course look into the future with Frenkie de Jong to come in the summer as well. And just look at our options right now. We've got Sergio Roberto there in that midfield area in the deeper lying role. You've got Ivan Rakitic as well, who could play there, and also Sergi Samper. But Sergi Samper and Denisi I've got down in the left hand corner simply because those are two players that I really don't expect to feature much over the course of the season. Sergi Samper Samper is back to full fitness now, but Ernesto Valverde isn't really planning on using him, and Barcelona are looking to let him go when his contract expires in the summer. Then there's Denis Suarez. They're trying to force him out. They're trying to persuade him to accept offers from La Liga sides. As of yet, Denis Suarez has not decided, but Barcelona don't really plan on using him. Obviously, Rafinha right now injured long term. You've got your two players there from Barcelona B, Oriol Busquets and Riqui Puig, two very, very talented midfield players that if you do want to use some youth, those two are massive, massive candidates. And then onto the first team players. Busquets there, you've got Arthur, you've got Rakitic, you've got Arturo Vidal. Arthur and Vidal have given us so much in the midfield since they came in the summer. Very, very different, but very, very good in what they do. Then you've got Coutinho, of course, who can play in that midfield role, but has struggled to really adapt to that when he's been given the opportunity. Whether or not we'll see him in that midfield role as the season goes on, we're going to have to wait and see. And also Carlos Alenia, of course, who's really come to the fore in recent weeks. He's been given more chances by Ernesto Valverde. He's making that step up, and I have to say, when I'm watching him, when I'm seeing him out there, he's growing in every game. He's growing in confidence, he's growing in stature, and I think there, certainly looking towards next season, we have got a very, very talented boy on our hands that can certainly go on and make himself a regular in this team. So in midfield, overall, a lot of options, a lot of different type of players, which is really, really important. In the long games, in the long season, you're going to need different kind of players to come on and make an impact at different times. And I think in that midfield there, we've got a bit of everything, and that's really, really good news. And last but not least, of course, we do move on to our forward options, where it all happens, where the goals come from, which is ultimately going to win us those big, big titles. We'll start, of course, with the centre-forward options. Luis Suarez, our out-and-out number 9. Of course, he's going to play when he's fit, when we need him. He is going to play and hopefully provide those goals. As a backup now, of course, we do have Kevin Prince Boateng, brought in January, played yesterday against Sevilla. He's going to take a bit of time to adapt, but I think when he does, he will be a decent backup now and then for Luis Suarez when we really need him. From the right-hand side as such, although Messi will come inside, but from the right, we've got Lionel Messi, of course, who's going to play every single game when he wants to. When he doesn't, he's going to take that rest, and I'm absolutely sure that he's going to be all the better for it. You've got Malcolm there as well, who's really struggled to adapt in some ways, hasn't played as often as he would have liked, and when he does, he's struggling now to really bring that confidence that he has. He is a bit of a confidence player, he plays on confidence. When he is confident, he's so good and elusive really in that final third. He can get away from his man, he can get shots away, he can score brilliant goals, but when that confidence isn't there, as we've seen like against Sevilla, it doesn't really work out for Malcolm, and it's undecided really how his Barcelona future is going to look. On the left hand side, Ousmane Dembele, of course, who can play on both flanks if needed. Obviously, if Messi's not going to be on the right hand side, Dembele can go across there and also link up very well with Sergio Roberto or Nelson Semedo, but on the left hand side, he's just as capable. He's very, very strong, of course, on both sides, and I have to say, we really did miss him yesterday against Sevilla. He's injured. He's going to be back, though, not too long now, and that's going to be great when it happens. Obviously, Philippe Coutinho, if he's not going to be playing midfield, he is going to be playing as a sort of left wing role. He likes to drop back a bit, though. He plays a bit deeper, and he's a different type of winger, of course, to Malcolm and Dembele. But Coutinho, for me, is another player who's really struggling right now with confidence. We saw that against Sevilla yesterday. He was partly to blame, of course, for the second goal that Sevilla scored, and he's somebody now who needs a real pick-me-up. He needs an arm around him. He needs some support, because quite frankly, for 160 million euros, we've got to be seeing more. We have to be seeing more from him. He has to be more of a threat in the final third, and most importantly, he's got to look after the ball a bit better. Yesterday, losing the ball in a dangerous area, you expect better from him. He knows that he can do better, and I'm sure that's the frustration for him. Hopefully now, in the final month of the season, when the really big games are coming up, we can see the best of Coutinho, because that in itself will be a massive help for us. And this is basically, guys, when you put all of that together, what you see here is two fantastic goalkeepers. We certainly got options at centre-back. You can see there, we are obviously struggling with Samuel and Titi. You've got players there in midfield, like I say, a lot of different options, and in attack, we have two players there for each position, exactly what you want. That's the kind of depth that you want. Two players for each position, pushing each other, really bringing out the best of each other's games, and really finding their level across a long season with a lot of games. But if there's one area there in that team, like I mentioned at the start of the video, it's left back. We do lack serious depth at left back. We've got to look after Jordi Alba. We've really got to rest him when we can, and that's why yesterday, even though Semedo at left back certainly wasn't ideal, you can see why Valverde did it. You can see why he's trying to rest Jordi Alba whenever he can, because if he gets injured, we are in trouble, and I think in that instance, like I mentioned yesterday, a back three is probably the best option. And just before we do end the video, guys, I want to show you what I think right now, if we are playing a Champions League final tomorrow, what Ernesto Valverde would do, because a lot of people always say to me, what is our best 11, what is the best 11 that we can put out there in a big game and get a result. I think if we were playing in a final tomorrow, this is the team that right now, as everybody is in terms of fitness and condition, Valverde would pick this team. Ter Stegen in goal, Alba, I think he would go with Roberto over Semedo, simply because I think he sees Sergio Roberto is more of a safer option, a more reliable option perhaps going forward, and defensively Roberto is maybe a bit more rounded than Semedo is in Valverde's book. Longley and Piqué at centre-back, of course, I wouldn't expect to be seeing Samuel Umtiti just yet. Then Busquets, Arthur and Rakitic in midfield. It would be really, really hard at the moment to leave out Arturo Vidal, but I'm absolutely sure that in any game he would be coming off the bench and certainly making an impact. And then Dembele, Suarez and Messi. I think right now, this team on current form, it picks itself. Because of course, in normal circumstances, you'd be looking on the bench there and you'd be saying, Coutinho, he's got to find a place in that team. You've got to put him in there somewhere. But at the end of the day, on current form, I don't think you get in there. I think you pick Dembele 10 out of 10 times. You've got that midfield there, the structure of that midfield that Ernesto Valverde likes in his teams. And I think on current form, Coutinho, he's going to have to work really, really hard to get a place in this team and really stamp it down. So that was basically my thoughts on our current squad at the moment, the options that we have right throughout our team for the rest of the season. I do still have really, really high hopes. The Champions League is an ultimate priority for us. The league, of course, is very, very important. And even now, we are still in the Copa del Rey. We're going to try and make the comeback in a week's time. I think we can do it, and let's wait and see what happens. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. What do you make of our squad depth? How do you assess where our squad is right now? And what are your ambitions for the rest of the season? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you, as always, for your incredible support. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça!